Alright, now we're on to kind of the second half of this lesson, okay? Part 2. Told you this is a big lesson with a lot of information here. So things we need to know still. A term is an expression that includes a positive or negative number and may include one or more variables. Okay? So a term could be like 3x. It's got a positive number and a variable. It could be like negative 4y. Okay, again, a negative number and a variable together. It could be like negative 5x squared y. Okay, where we've got variable parts, x squareds and y's, and a number with it. Okay, it could be just a number. It doesn't have to include a variable, so it could be like 5 by itself. Okay, or it could be something like just yz. Okay, that's also a term. So again, these terms, they have letter parts sometimes. Sometimes they're just numbers. And other times they just have letters and no number. Okay? And we'll talk about ones like these because really there's a number that can go with this. And we'll talk about that when we get down to the examples below. Okay, the coefficient is the number part of a term. So let's use my 3x for example. A coefficient is the number that goes with the variable. So here 3 is my coefficient. The coefficient is 3 when I'm talking about 3x. If I look at this term, my coefficient is the number part, so that'd be negative 4. And this term, the coefficient's the number part, it'd be negative 5. This term, again, the coefficient, the number part, is just 5. Now here, when we have no number there, then we say the coefficient is 1. Okay? We pretend that a 1 goes out in front of this when there's no number there. Then a constant is just a term that doesn't have a variable. It's just a number. So like 3 or negative 5 or 1/2. Okay? Those are all constants. Terms without variables. So they don't have a letter with them. Alright, let's go on to these examples down here. These should be relatively easy. Letter A, it says identify the numerical coefficient of each of these terms. So remember, the coefficient is the number part of a term. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is rewrite my term, a squared b, and I'm going to look for the number that goes out in front. I'm not talking about the exponent, I'm talking about a big number that would go out in front of these. Well, there's no number there, and we talked up here, up top with the yz about if there's no number there, then the coefficient is just 1. Okay? If there's no number out in front, the coefficient's 1. Now part B, I've got 3y. My coefficient is just the number part, so it's just 3. And in part C, I've got negative x squared. Well, again, there's no number out in front, so I can put a 1 here. The only catch is that it's negative. So then I've got to put a negative 1 for my coefficient. Okay, again, coefficient is the number out in front. And if there's no number out in front, then you have to put a 1 there. So that should be pretty easy. Alright, let's move on to the last few examples here. Alright, and now we're on to objective 2, which is to combine like terms. Alright, like terms are terms, like we just talked about, that have the exact same, that's keywords, exact same variable parts, including exponents. Okay, so what that means is that they're both x's, or they're both y's, or they're both x squareds. Okay, like you would read them the same. Okay, so like terms are things you would read the same. They have to be exactly the same. I had some steps over here. I'm going to get rid of those, so don't worry about those. We're just going to go ahead and simplify this expression by collecting like terms. Okay, the first thing that I'm going to do is rewrite the expression. Okay? Now, I always like to tell what terms are alike by putting them in boxes or circling them or something to show they're alike. So there are terms that have the exact same variable parts. So if I look at all the terms here, I've got 3x, a 2, a negative x, and a 3. Well, x's are the same as each other. Okay? X's and x's, they sound the exact same. So those are like terms. So I can combine those. Well, here I got to make sure I keep the negative sign, the sign in front, with it. Okay? And what I'm going to do is combine those terms in the box. Well, 3x minus x. If I have 3 x's and I take away an x, that leaves me with 2 x's. Okay? Now anything that wasn't in the box, I'm going to go ahead and leave the same. So I've got a plus 2 and a plus 3. Well, now if I read these, I got 2x plus 2 plus 3. Neither one of these two have x's with them, so I can't combine them with this. I'm done with the x's. I got no more x's to combine with this. But I can always combine constants together. They have the same variable parts. Okay, 2 and 3 each have no variables, so that's the same variable part. So now I can go ahead and combine these together. Well, my 2x is going to stay. I don't have any more x's to add to that. And then I've got 2 plus 3, which is a positive 5. Okay? So I got 2x plus 5 after I collect the like terms. So I was able to combine my x's together to make 2x's. 3x minus 1x is 2x's. And then I combine my constants because I know 2 plus 3 is 5. So that's combining like terms. And let's go on to our very last example. Okay, this example asks me to find the perimeter of this rectangle. Well, if you remember correctly, the perimeter of a rectangle is all the sides added together. It's the length plus the width plus the length plus the width, because there's 4 sides to a rectangle. Alright, well, my length is 3. So now I've got my perimeter equals 3 plus my width is 2x plus my other length here is 3 plus, and then my other width has to be the same as this width, so it's the same as 2x. So I got 3 plus 2x plus 3 plus 2x for my perimeter. Now I just need to combine my like terms. Okay? Well, terms that are alike. Let's see here. We've got some x's. I've got 2 x's and another 2 x's. Alright, well, my 3 stays. I'm going to take my x's and add them together. 2 x's plus 2 x's is 4 x's. It's a positive 4 x's. Okay, and then we've got this other 3 still here. Notice again, the things I didn't put in a box, I leave alone. Okay, I didn't do anything with those yet. But I combined my x's together. Well, now, do I have any other like terms? Again, we said earlier, constants are always like terms. Okay, so 3 and 3 are like terms. Okay, because they don't have any variable parts. So now I've got my perimeter is equal to 3 plus 3 is 6. And then I leave those plus 4x's alone. And I can't combine 6 and 4x's because my 6, there's no x's there. Okay, so 6 and 4x's aren't the same. Can't combine them. So that is my final answer. 6 plus 4x's is my perimeter when I add up all those sides. Now, if you got any questions, I think, about this lesson, especially the like terms, okay, make sure you ask those. Otherwise, good luck on your homework.